Hey, everybody, welcome back. Another Tuesday night chat with the Muskrat and no Bobcat. Bobcat said his computer is doing a hardware or hard drive update, and it's giving him a fit. So he might be able to pop in here after a while, but nonetheless, we'll get things started and kicked off. And if he can pop in, he'll pop in. If not, then we'll just talk to each other. It'll be like the old days, running solo. But tonight we're going to talk a little bit about Thermacline. Some of y'all have to deal with the Thermacline. There we go. We see Chris and V out there. I know they're dealing with the Thermacline out on Hoover. I actually need to call you guys because I'm taking the kids out by myself this weekend, and I want to try to put them on some fish. Just me and Amelia and my grandkid. The three of us out there, so I want to try to get these guys on some fishies. But real quick, we'll just say hello. There's Tommy Long. Says he's got 4 decent fish in the box already. He's out fishing his Tuesday night tournaments, I'm going to assume. Welcome in, Tommy Long. Welcome in, Chris and V. Appreciate you guys being here. Lee Osborne's in the house. Mike Greenwell, Greg Burgess. There's Brandon, Catfish and Dreams, Thermacline, Smurkline. I got you. Small Water Charge. What's up, John? John, I don't know how much Thermacline affects you guys down there. I'm going to assume just the same as anywhere else. The Thermacline will definitely play a big part in how your bass position and set up, especially running for bait and all that. So Grizzly Ridge Runner, welcome in. Randy, old gray hair Swain. What's up, buddy? Thanks for stopping in. But some folks don't ever have to deal with the Thermacline. Carpe Day, Darren, what's going on? Hard to have much thermo in 2 foot of water. Well, I didn't know how deep you guys end up chasing them, to be honest. Obviously, in 2 foot of water, you're not going to deal with the Thermacline there. Thermacline could be completely different depending on your body of water. There's no set depth that Thermacline affects any given body of water. It affects every body of water just a little bit differently. Norman Mountain, welcome in. Wabash Nate, thanks for stopping in. Lake Okeechobee is at 10 foot right now, and it's huge. Oh, my goodness. Hang on a second. Lance McCouguy, what's going on, Catfish Cowboy? Kevin Walters is in the house. Kevin, I was just looking at your event coming up in October 4th. I think it's 4th or 5th. We got to get signed up and ready to go for that thing. But if you're fishing, moving water, a river or even lakes that have a good source of water coming in or water going out, you may not experience the Thermacline like a lot of other places will. Thermacline can affect any body of water that has very slow to no movement, and you'd be surprised that even lakes without a lot of movement but have significant wind, that can keep the water turned enough to where a Thermacline won't really be as apparent, because the Thermacline is it's honestly a big temperature change in the water. It separates itself. All right. Hot water, warm water is less dense than cool water is. And so it rises, all right? Kind of like oxygen. The hot air rises. And so the cooler water settles towards the bottom of the body of water, creating this huge separation. Now, in the Thermacline itself, sorry, I'm trying to keep up with chat. Paul, what's going on, buddy? Thanks for stopping in. In the Thermacline itself, you can pick up, it'll be oxygen rich and it'll be a lot cooler water. So let me see if I could pull you a picture up here real quick. Exactly what Thermacline looks like on a fish finder. Now, if you're able to get out where'd my pictures go? If you're able to get out and there we go, and use a graph and look at Thermacline, then you'll be able to identify, what we're seeing here. My button's changed on the bottom. What's going on here? Oh, that ain't it. Leave studio. What's going on here? What's this button do? StreamYard's updated a bunch of buttons down here at the bottom of the screen, and I can't figure out what any of them mean. I'm trying to find my share screen button. Present. There we go. I found it. Share screen. Go over here. Take a look at this. So if you're out on the water and you see something like this, this is where your Thermacline is taking place in this body of water. What's going on? That Quiet Man Curtis, welcome in. So this body of water here, the Thermacline, looks like it's set in clear down to 40 feet deep. Now, how deep will your Thermacline set? Well, that all depends on each body of water. So what I can tell you is that each body of water, this is what Thermacline kind of looks like on a down imaging screen. Let me make sure I got everybody. On down imaging, it'll look something like this. It can also look like this here, which is just crazy. It's just blurred out. The sensitivity on this graph is up and extremely high, which is why it's showing this. But the reason I show you that is because you may have to play with your sensitivity on your graph. If you're out on a body of water and you notice that you're seeing fish activity, but it is only at a certain depth. Let's say you're seeing fish at 20 feet and no deeper. DNA Catfishing was welcome in. And you're seeing all your bait fish are hanging out around 20 feet, but nothing deeper. Even though you don't see the actual Thermacline on your graph like we're showing here, your sensitivity may not be quite high enough. But it'll be a great indication to you that, hey, something's going on. There are hardly any fish below this line. So below the Thermacline line is much colder, denser, and typically a lot less oxygenated water. So the fish can survive down there, and they can hang out underneath the Thermacline for short periods of time, but they're not comfortable. And so they will find themselves moving up into the oxygen-rich and cooler water. And let's say your Thermacline is 10 feet, a band of 10 feet across your graph. You may see fish positioned at the very bottom of that 10-foot span. You may see fish in the middle or at the very top of it. Because in that span, the temperature drops drastically, up to 10 degrees, they said. It could drop just in that short period. And fish are going to position themselves somewhere in that they're most comfortable. We'll do the same thing. You set the thermostat to what feels comfortable to you. You go to your parents' house, and I was sitting in my mom and dad's house this last week, and their air conditioner is out, broke, done. All right, they're getting to run around on getting it fixed. And I was sitting in the house, and I was like, "This is terrible." I was like, "It ain't that bad." It was 84 degrees in their house. 84 degrees in my house. I ain't having it. Hey, Jimmy James Bailey, welcome in. Thanks for stopping by. Mike Irvin, Lisa Swain, welcome in. So fish will do the same thing. They will hang out somewhere in that Thermacline that is comfortable to them. It doesn't mean all catfish will be here, all bass will be here, but they will move up and down in that Thermacline because the temperature changes a lot in that short span. That also becomes oxygen-rich span of water. So you have your normal terrible, yeah. You have your normal warm water at the top. So you basically have three layers of water. You got your normal water. It's all consistent in temperature above the thermocline. You've got your span of water in the thermocline, which is generally oxygen rich. And then you've got your water below the thermocline, which then becomes oxygen depleted. And the fish are going to try to hang out in the thermocline. It's oxygen rich. They can find a comfortable area in that thermocline, and that's where everybody's hanging out. Your bait fish are going to be in that thermocline, oxygen rich water. You talk about going catching bait and getting shad, skipjack, everything. Everyone likes to go to the dams. I love to fish dams, but one of the big pluses from the dam is this oxygen rich water. It's turning the parts per million for that water is highly oxygenated. You go to any spillway, runoff of any type, and that's where fish like to congregate because it's oxygen rich water. And that's no different when you go to a reservoir or even a farm pond. Farm ponds will be just as acceptable to a thermocline as any other body of water is. But hang on a second here. I had another. Oh shoot! I had another slide here for you. So basically, what it comes down to is your most of your bait fish are going to try to hang out in that thermocline, and that's where everyone else is going to want to be. Now, how do you fish it? Well, it's entirely up to you. You basically have two choices. Just for the sake of argument, and I understand that every body of water is different. And why does one lake have a thermocline at 20 feet and another thermocline setting at 12? Well, it all depends on water clarity. All right. So if you have a lake water that stays dingy, let's say it's for whatever, it's always kind of murky, and the light penetration that you're visible down to like 2 feet, and that's about it. All right. The light penetration isn't getting down deep and causing plant growth. All right. So just the same as out in the wild, the trees, do you use planer boards? Oh, sorry, I missed you. Do you use planer boards and set your baits at that depth? Absolutely, Brandon. So what I like to do is run it to the high side or the middle or the high side of the thermocline. So let's say, like I said, we're setting the thermocline is at 20 feet and it comes up to, let's just say 12 feet. So it's about 8 feet thick. I will run my baits down. I will run my baits down to about 12, 14 feet, maybe even 15 feet, and get in the upper half of that thermocline. Because one, we know fish generally will feed up. Two, we don't know exactly where in the span, unless you're really good at graphing and you can see, hey, my catfish all seem to be hanging, right at 18 feet in a 20-foot thermocline. You can set your planer boards, or even if you have a slip float, or like we was talking last week about the I lost it. The ghost floats. You could set your depth and suspend drift or suspend drag, whatever you want to do at that depth. So let's say, hey, Bob and Doreen, welcome in. Let's say you don't use planer boards, or you still don't seem to be having much luck setting the depth. Your other option is to go shallower. So let's say that depth, like I said, the thermocline comes up to 12 feet to 20 feet. It's 8 feet thick. You could fish less than 20 foot of water. 12 foot of water. You can get into some shallower water, and be honest with you, if you could find structure, or you could find an area of water that you could drag that is around that 18 feet, right in the thermocline. If you could find, in this scenario, if you could find 18 foot of water, that's where I would love to be. It should be oxygen-rich water. It should be where the fish are comfortable, where they're hanging out. And when they're comfortable, they get hungry. All right. When you're hot, when you're stressed out, when you're depleted, you don't feel as hungry as you do when you are, comfortable and just kick back in your recliner and you're ready to chow down on some homemade chocolate chip cookies or whatever your favorite snack is. We'll say pork rinds, and for the love of Bobcat. There you go, Randy. Hit the thumbs up on both channels. Yeah, I went ahead and ran it on Bobcat's channel tonight as well. Even though he's not, he may or may not be able to make it up here. Just give him some view time. I don't think he really needs it as well as he's been doing. He's killing it, man. But I tell you, you look at all the numbers. I know he put some 2.5 million views or something out there. Just hit. He earns every one of them. He puts a lot of time and work into his videos, his videography, his editing. He's doing a great job. I'm very proud of him. A little jealous, but very proud. I lost my train of thought, but you could go drag that depth of water and generally be very productive. Depending on what you're going after. Let's see. I was trying to. So what I was talking about was dropping to 10 degrees. If you take a thermometer and drop it, I know they got like Bluetooth ones and everything else, but you could actually drop that down the water column and watch it hit the thermocline and just watch how. Hey, thanks, Curtis. I try, but I don't do that. I don't do the long form content and editing like Bobcat does. Sitting up here Tuesday nights and running my gums, that's pretty easy compared to what he's doing. So, but I do appreciate the compliment. Running a thermometer down there. What's up, John Boy? You can see quickly once you hit the thermocline and run that thermometer through it and then out the bottom of it, just how quickly that temperature will change. There's a lot of studies and scientific, data on that. So like I said, the fish, the catfish, and now my computer's trying to do a software update. Let's not do that. Let's go and hit snooze. It does it every Tuesday night. I go back and let it redo it, but it still comes up every Tuesday night. So the fish are going to disperse themselves wherever they feel comfortable. The bait's going to be somewhere else as well. Sometimes they may go, even the bait, you may see bait below the thermocline, but they don't stay there for very long. So like if you see a thermocline and then you start marking a few fish here and there and you're like, well, this can't be right. I'm seeing fish below the thermocline and nothing can live down there. They can live down there. They can go down there, but boat traffic and wind can move it. I don't know about boat traffic. It would have to be a lot of boat traffic, but wind can definitely disrupt or completely deplete a thermocline on a body of water. It's all about movement and mixing. But what's happening in the thermocline situation is the water has time to separate. So your warm water, less dense water is going up. Your cooler, more dense water is separating down, and you end up with this band in the middle somewhere that is a quick temperature change between the top and the bottom and ends up oxygen rich. But if you have a lake that has good flow coming in or good flow going out, or even if you, like right now, we're calling for rain for like the next 7 days. There may not be a thermocline come Saturday, or if I could even get out Saturday with the kids, depending on how much water gets dumped and pushed in there. It could have been a thermocline for the last several weeks. In our area, Central Ohio, thermocline usually starts setting in the second week of June and can go all the way, second week of June to the beginning of July, and will run all the way generally through September until we start going into the fall transition. What temperature does water generally start this? It's right around 75 degrees. It can give or take down or up a few degrees. It could be as low as 72, not normally common. You'll start to see it there, but at 75 degrees, you've really got a good head on it. And by 77 degrees, it's Thermacline is available to develop if the conditions are right. And of course, anything warmer than that. And I know that like the Ohio River, we're sitting at 84, 85 degrees last we got to check. Hard to keep up with both channels. That's all right, Greg. We appreciate you being on either one. I can on my end, I can see all the comments, I believe, whether they're coming in on that end, his side or my side. So I see them all. I can't tell the difference. What's up, John Boy? But anyway, so when locating the Thermacline, so now this is where bank anglers are going to kind of struggle. If you've got buddies that are lake fishermen and they can kind of tell you about the depth of Thermacline is on the body of water you're fishing, it can definitely improve your odds. If you think your water temperature is over 75 degrees and it doesn't get a lot of movement, there's a great chance that there's a Thermacline, and fishing deep ledges, channels, and things like that, which may have been great during the springtime, are now going to be dead water. It's the Dead Sea out there now. And so you're going to find yourself either be able to suspend baits with floats or move to shallower water within the Thermacline or less. And, talking to it's one of the great things about, this catfish community is we've got so many people fishing so many places. Generally not stingy with information. If you need to know something about a body of water, it could be, you can find out pretty quick. So like I said, the water clarity kind of determines how deep your Thermacline will be. Let's say you're in 50 foot of water, your lake's 50 foot deep. And what's up, Uncle Lou? And it's very clear. Let's say water clarity is clear down to 5 feet, 7 feet, 8 feet deep. And your water is crystal clear. Your Thermacline is going to end up being much deeper. And I kind of started to talk about this and got away from it, but the light penetration down so far, still calls photosynthesis. There we go. Which creates oxygen, right? So if you have a body of water that has really clear water, the light's penetrating and still putting off, causing undergrowth and vegetation, it's going to oxygen-rich water. Okay, your Thermacline could be much, much deeper. You may not see a Thermacline until you're 30 feet deep. So it just depends. Every body of water is going to be a little bit different. Water clarity, flow in and out. These are all variables that's going to determine if you have a Thermacline, how deep your Thermacline is going to be and how it's going to affect your fishing. So, wind and current is going to play a huge factor in. Sorry, I made myself thirsty. Squirrel. Fishing with squirrel. Bugman 22. What's up, Buggy? FOA, all working but listening. Thermacline sucks. Now, see, Freddie, that's why I made this episode tonight, because I keep hearing people say that the Thermacline sucks. I got to be completely honest with you. I like fishing the Thermacline, and here's why. Instead of 40 to 50 feet of water for me to try to figure out where the fish are, that's basically cut my water in half. They generally won't be below the Thermacline. So all my fish are now 20 feet or less. And that makes things a little bit easier for me because I could see them. They ain't hidden on the bottom. All right. They're not laying them flat on the bottom, making it real hard for me to pick them up. hiding in structure in suspended water. I can find them. I can see them. I can target them. To me, I actually like a Thermacline because I feel like I can target the fish and catch them much easier than I can when they have the entire lake to hide from me and bury themselves up in structure, just, silt themselves in on the bottom. I can see them and I can find them. Now, if you know how to fish it, it can be really good. I actually like, I got you, buddy. I knew you knew better. Sampy's in the house. What's going on, man? Let's see. Greg Burgess says, I really need to cut the grass before the storm gets here. I've had 46.8 inches of rain this year, and they're calling for another 10 inches Thursday and Friday. But we can handle it. Good Lord, Greg. That's crazy. Hey, Pat's in the house. Twisted Tackle Fishing. What's going on, man? We're talking about Thermacline tonight. I don't know how much you have to deal with Thermacline. Thermacline is actually even prevalent in salt water, some salt water. I didn't do a lot of research on it. I know that it is a thing, but salt and affects the density of the water as it does everywhere, and so it does change things a little bit. But I don't know much about Thermacline salt water, so I won't pretend like I do because I don't know a lot about it. But for me, I like to look at areas where the Thermacline, Hoover had one for a couple of days and then it disappeared after the storms. Yeah. I was wondering if it was going to be, if there was going to be a Thermacline. And then, like I said, we're supposed to get some rain this week. So hopefully the weather will give me a break on Saturday. I can take these two kids out and put them on some fish. Fish North Ohio, what's up, buddy? Thanks for tuning in. I know you got to deal with the Thermacline. You fishing in Ohio waters. Uncle Lou, Mindy. So that was actually, the real reason why I wanted to do tonight's show. I'm going to need to put pontoons on my riding mower. That's bad news, man. Fishing for a couple days. Mainly Sandusky Bay. I know that Sandusky, we got some 20-foot water there, just a few spots. I doubt that it ever gets a Thermacline. It is constantly moving in and out. I seriously doubt the Sandusky Bay ever gets Thermacline. I could be wrong. I'm just based on what I know. I wouldn't imagine there would be a Thermacline on Sandusky Bay. Let me see. I had a couple other things here that I thought was going to be interesting. Use sonar to display. We already talked about that. So, yeah. So that's kind of the reason why I did tonight's shows, because I know that in rivers and moving water, our fish do seem to be more active right now in deeper water, which is, deeper, cooler water, but it has the same oxygen or near to the same oxygen saturation level as it does near the surface. So the fish aren't really having to hunt for oxygen rich and avoid depleted water. They're going where they feel most comfortable. And so is the bait. But when you think about that in lakes and reservoirs, and you think that the deeper water should be cooler, the fish, going to be trying to get more comfortable. They're going to go to the deep water, deep areas. If you're making that call right now on a lake that has a Thermacline, you're wasting your time. If you're really not sure and you don't have a graph, put a live bait on and send it down to the depth that, if you're fishing deep, and send it down there and give it 10 minutes, 15 minutes and bring it back. If it's dead and you're like, why is it dead? There's no reason this fish should be dead. There's a good chance you send him down below Thermacline and it's very oxygen depleted. Catfish can actually handle, oxygen depletion better than a lot of fish. That's why we're able to, we can take a catfish out of the water and we can weigh them and handle them, and they don't seem to be as finicky as, say, a drum. You can hardly get a drum out of the water and get the hook out of it and put it back, and he's done. They just cannot handle the stress of the oxygen depletion. Catfish can. He can hang out down there for a little while, but he's not comfortable, and there's no food down there, so there's not a real good reason to be down there. Hey, there's War Pig in the house. What's up, buddy? Long time no see. Long time no see. I'm in the middle of let's see. Today I dropped the lower unit on a boat motor, swapped the lower unit over to the other motor, got everything put back together. Thought, put a new water pump kit in it, put everything back together. No water still coming out. So I pulled thermostat housing. Thermostats were locked up like a drum. They were no good. So I ordered a thermostat kit, try and get this boat finished and put back together and running good. And we can get it sold and out of here so I can bring in the next boat and start pulling everything off my boat to put on this boat to run it while we rebuild the Muskrat, because it's going to go through a transformation. All new flooring, new consoles, new windshield. We're going to see what we can do with it. Can't afford a new one, so I got to make what I got as good as I can get it. Did you get it? Hot. I bought this motor off of somebody else. I bought this whole boat off of somebody. Shoot, I don't remember how long I've had it now. Too long, honestly. I should have had it sold and gone by now. So I don't know anything about the engine. I don't know if they got it hot before or not. I know that they hit something and tore up the lower unit. I pulled that lower unit off, put a new one on today. It shifts good and everything looks good on it. Put a new water pump kit in it. So it should have been good to go, but still not getting but just a little trickle of water out the telltale. Hey, here's Wes Dirty Bird. What's up, buddy? I hope you're doing good. I know you got some ear issues going on. Mine's finally starting to go away. I got my seat, so I didn't tell anybody, but it's Jill. I hope Wes is doing good. And welcome in, Jill. Thanks for stopping in. Last few weeks been kind of rough on me, man. They thought I had another tumor on my brain, and I've been going through some real difficult head pressure and headaches that were hard to explain, but we got CT scan results back a couple of days ago, and it's not that. It's not another tumor, so I'm happy about that. Bad side is I don't know what it is causing it, but at least I know it's not that, so I can breathe a little bit. We could take the war machine out, Raj. My boat is still – so actually my boat kicked an alarm when we went to Sandusky Bay with the kids there a few weeks ago. I'm hoping it just needs a water pump kit in it too, because when I got it up on plane wide open, it kicked an alarm on me. If I kept it, if I kept the engine RPMs down, it would keep running just fine. But every time I try to crank it up, it would just give me an alarm. So I just didn't want to get it stranded out there. I mean, I got the kicker motor, but I just took it easy, and I haven't had it back out yet. I'm going to do a lot of fishing. There's just been so much stuff going on. Yep. Hang on. I missed this big comment up here. Who we got? Greg Bird said I really would like to fish that time because the monster came out. Had to see what the winds are going to be. The water is going to be high for sure. Oh, I got you. Hey, thank you. Thank you, Bill. Yeah, I don't know exactly what that's why I haven't said anything about anything for a while. I know a couple of episodes, some folks messaged me after the show and was like, "Are you okay?" Probably the thermostat. Yeah, Robert. Yeah, I'm hoping so. Pulled it out. Kickers. So you taking me to Hoover? I'm ready to go, man. I'm ready to go. That boat might be only good for Hoover right now. The kicker is always good. I got a kicker motor and a Minn Kota. I'm good to go. But the other boat, I'll have I got an 18-foot Starcraft we're going to run for a while we go through and tear the floor. I put a new floor in that thing about 5 or 6 years ago, and it's already waterlogged and getting soft, and had to replace a couple spots on it. So I'm just going to go ahead and bite the bullet on it and pull it all out and go with all aluminum floor. I got to either find a couple consoles for it or build a couple consoles for it, and put a windshield in. I've got an old windshield, split windshield for it with a walkthrough, but it's one of them old, like tinted, like blue-green color from, I don't know when, 70s or whatever. So I was trying to find something else, or I may end up getting one custom built, kind of like the newer boats, the tall, straight windshields, put a couple windshield wipers in it because they make a big difference. We caught 28 blues in 5 days, all only being on the water 3.5 hours. Holy moly. Yeah, I knew you guys have been kicking butt up there, so as I told myself about to call you guys to figure out what the trick is, because I don't plan on reeling in any fish this weekend. I plan on letting the 2 kids do it. He's 8 years old, and he is wound for sound. Like, he is ate up with fishing. It's crazy. Of course, Amelia, she's 9. She knows what she's doing, so I'll have an 8-year-old and a 9-year-old out on Hoover with me this weekend. Hopefully both of them come back with me. But let's see. I had a couple other slides up here. There's a lot more science to this. I could go through and try to wow you with some big words and verbiage. But if you guys are like me, I don't need all that. I just really need to go. I just really need to know what's going on, how to find it, and how to fish it. Because like I said earlier, to me, Thermacline can really narrow down where these fish can be. And the thing is, with my graphs, I can spot them. Now generally if they're on the bottom, laying flat on the bottom, I can still find them and pick them up and get a pretty good idea of the size of them. But with the Thermacline, they are up off the bottom, and I get some really good images with the side scan, and I can really, look and see like, wow, we've got some really good fish in here, or I'm dealing with a lot of dinks, and Thermaclines can target fish for sure. Yeah, absolutely. What's up, Jerry Parker? Welcome in, buddy. Let's see what else. It affects all the fish, and it doesn't matter. We're ideally talking about catfishing, but you got to catch your bait too. Your bait's not going to be below that line. Crappie, bluegill, any of those other fish, if you're targeting anything else for eating or for fun, they're not going to be below the line. They'll be generally in it. Sometimes those telltale tunings get stopped up or partially blocked. Are you sure it's running hot? I didn't let it run hot. So I have the tube. I pulled the tube off because normally it gets clogged in the little plastic piece that goes through the housing. I got the tube off, and it just spit a little bit of water, just a little trickle here and there. But I didn't let it run long enough to get real hot. I started a couple times, let it run. These old Johnsons, they're kind of hard to get to. The thermostat housing down in the back. This is a 115 V4, and I was watching videos where guys were cutting the housing off, cutting a huge panel for access. It took a little bit of patience, but I was able to get the thermostat housing out and thermostats out, no problem. I think shovelhead tolerate thermos more than blues. Thoughts, Roger? I couldn't say. To be completely honest. I know flatheads, when it comes to territory or being influenced by other things, flatheads are the last to leave. So like anytime there's a drop in the water or a rise in the water, anything crazy happens, channel cats move first, blue cats move second, and flatheads move last. That's why you'll see a lot of times on these big floods, fields will get flooded and things, and then the water start dropping down. These flatheads will hold up, and they'll take residence somewhere, and they'll stick around too long and get themselves trapped out in fields, and you'll see people picking up big fish. Blues will get a tendency to do this. We'll get stuck too. Not to say that they just won't, but flatheads are more susceptible to it. They're very territorial. They will hold their ground a lot longer than most other species. That's what I think about flatheads too. Yeah. As far as what they can handle, the thing is they might be able to handle it below the thermocline for much longer than anything else, but there's no food for them to eat there. So they're generally going to try to move into a more comfortable area, which is typically in the thermocline. They can find the temperature ranges so drastically in that short span that they can find themselves a nice little comfort zone right there where they can set the thermostat whatever they want, and they can hang out there. And that's also where all the food is. I could hang out. It might be nice down in the basement, but there's no fridge down there. And it turns out it's 100 steps down to the basement. And after a while, you're just like, you know what? I'm just going to stay up here where the fridge is at. I'm tired of walking up down. You're going to hang out where the food's at. Blues definitely want more oxygenated water. Flats will definitely tolerate more stagnant water. Look at some of the small watersheds they are found in at times. Yeah, absolutely. Blues definitely prefer the high. That's why, not to say the flatheads aren't at the dams, because that's just a great food source. But when it comes to actually hanging out in the turbulent, fast water, that's where your blues are. That's why bumping is so effective, because they like to hang out right in that highly oxygenated, super fast water, because they're comfortable there. And not to mention that it doesn't take much for a flathead or a flathead or a blue. Hey, Benoit, welcome in. To position themselves behind a rock. You got to think about how big a catfish is. It just takes a rock, the size of a basketball or, a little bit bigger, and they can put their head right up against it and become aerodynamic and use little to no effort whatsoever to hang out in the fastest, craziest water that we can imagine with little to no effort. And that's how they ambush prey. They can sense, smell, feel vibration, and they can tell that something's coming, and boom, they snap it up. That's why bumping is so effective at the dams, is because that's what they're there for. They're there to ambush food as it comes by. Let's see. Matt, want to be outdoors? Welcome in, buddy. We talked about something that, we talked about something we just can't see. We can't see the thermocline, with the naked eye, but with our electronics, we can. And you could find it. Love throwing cast net, thermocline, lakes, bait is easy. Absolutely. Yep. So, a lot of times, especially in the wintertime, a lot of these bait fish will move super deep. You're going to have to throw a big tape net in order for your net to stay open long enough to get to the bottom. Now you're talking about bait being in, generally less than 20 foot of water. And sometimes even much shallower than that. So it does make catching bait a lot easier. That reminds me, I don't have a cast net. Oh crap! I had a brand new cast net, like $150 cast net. I only got to use it twice. Completely shredded it at Rocky Fork. I got hung on a big pipe of some sort, and I did everything in the world to try to get it off. I got the whole thing back, but it's pretty much ripped in half. I think the only time I got is Friday. Friday, I'm going to have to sit down and see if I can't sew that thing up. I was getting shad in 4 foot last week. I got you. Roger, I don't have any electronics. I just fished by feel. And there's a lot to be said for that. There's folks that can read the water and read activity are just as good or sometimes better at fishing than those of us that rely completely on electronics. Now, if you can do a little bit of both, if you can read electronics and you can read water, read land, and put those two together, then, generally you come up with a winning formula to put yourself in good standings. Now, if you have electronics and you're able to read water and are able to read the land, you could kind of forecast where you think fish might be or where bait might be, and then you just go use your electronics to confirm or deny your suspicions. Where did you find a pipe at Rocky? East Shore boat ramp. Off the left-hand side, there's a short little dock, short little pier. And I had the biggest school of shad working up that bank, and I sat there and waited for like 15 minutes for them fish to get close enough. It's fairly deep there. And I threw on them, and it looked like a Christmas tree just sparkling as it went down. I thought, yes, I got it. And I should have just stopped it right there. I should have just, not me, I used my Humminbird. Yeah, I love my Humminbird. I should have stopped the net right then. And I don't know how far down that pipe was, but I got hung on that pipe and I lost every single shad. There was a couple bluegill that got hung up in there in the net. But by the time I got the net out, every shad was gone and it was basically ripped in half. But yeah, it was on the East Shore. If you're facing the water, it's on the left hand side. There's a short little dock right there. That's it. It's bad. I got one I won 2 years ago from DBO raffle and never used it yet. I'm not sure what. I missed that comment when I was in the moment. I'm not sure what it was that you haven't got to use yet. Use a cheap Garmin Striker 4. I've said this a lot of time. Hey, welcome in, by the way, Paul. Appreciate you being here. The price of electronics isn't really the deciding factor. It's your ability to read it. And I know he's moved on, and he's running with Dan Green Machine Guide, the guide service over there. But when you look at Stand 3, for many moons, Stand 3 ran a $99 electronics on his boat. He's fishing out of a John boat or a kayak, and but he knew exactly how to read that thing. And at $99, he could still outfish and read his graph better than guys that have $2,000 and $3,000 units. Now, there is a lot of features on those expensive units that make life a lot easier. I've got a big Humminbird now. I've worked my way up from a small Lowrance to a small Humminbird to 9-inch Garmin's, and I finally just went up. Oh, casting net, got you. Worked myself up to a big Humminbird now. And because my favorite tool in all of electronics is side scan, that's my most valuable tool. If I had to pick one and do away with the rest, it would be side scan. I have to keep that in mind. I think Chris has snagged that a couple of times. Yeah, it's whatever it is, it's nasty, and it does not give. It doesn't give. A matter of fact, I did feel it give. I felt it come up some, and then go back down. That's what made me think maybe it was a pipe, or I don't know what it is. But Rocky has a lot of structure buckets thrown in for crappies. Yeah, it could be that. It's deep right there, right off the bank. Stonefly 71, welcome in, buddy. He don't have to worry about Thermacline. He's a river fishing fool there. He's always got bait on his mind. Sorry, I got a little Me Too side scan for the win. DNA, yeah, absolutely. The ability to it takes the question out of a lot of things. I do like fish lakes too, but they are shallow. Yeah. I'm trying to think of what are all the ones you fish. There's probably a Thermacline on Rocky Fork. I don't know, Paul, if you've been out to Rocky on the lake here lately. I'm quite sure there's Thermacline. Matter of fact, I know there is. Kevin Walters, who was in here earlier, he actually messaged me this week heading to Rocky Fork. He hadn't been to it in like 15 years and was trying to get on some shad. And I gave him some areas to go check out. Turns out the areas I gave him check out weren't any good. Where I would have been a no-go. And he did have a big Thermacline because he sent me a picture of his graph. And I don't remember the depth it was, but it was for sure Thermacline. Dylan, probably in Burr Oak. Yes, got you. Meldale pull thermos every year. Yeah, even on the Ohio River, you can get a Thermacline if you go long enough without rain. We have not had anything like that, and we probably won't have anything like that for the next couple weeks at least, with all the rain in the forecast. So the Yo-Yo River is no Thermacline for now. But it does get Thermacline at times. It doesn't do it like everywhere, but there are certain areas that can get slow enough and to develop a Thermacline. I gave him a few spots. Did he get anything? I don't know. I didn't talk to Kevin after the fact. He called me after he went to the couple areas I told him to go try out, and then he sent me pictures of Thermacline, and I told him get on the Thermacline and throw all those fish out in wide open water. I mean, he was like 35 foot of water, I think. And the Thermacline, I don't remember how deep it was, but it wasn't that deep. And he had bait all up above it. And I said, just go out there in a wide open and throw on those fish. Because they're not going to go down. They're not going to outrun it. And there's no need to let your net sink clear to the bottom. Once you've got through where you know the Thermacline is, where you think the Thermacline is, go ahead and snatch your rope up and bring them on in. I don't know if it would have been any different if I would have snatched my net faster. Honestly, I think my chin hit the ground when I threw it, and I just watched it blow up completely full of fish. I'm like, oh my God, I'm going to have to let some of these go. Well, I had to let them all go because I ripped my net in half. I was trying to see if there was anything else that I missed that I thought. I had some stuff over here off to the side I had pulled up that I wanted to make sure I covered. We already talked about that. Yeah. Lake turnover. Now, this is a subject I don't know much about. We all know that the lakes do turn over when the water mixes due to temperature changes, and that will mess up a Thermacline, and it will change fish behavior. But I don't know enough about turnover to talk about it in detail. I would have to do some research on turnover to give you much real insight to it. But I know that this time of year, turnover can happen on Rocky has sweet spots during thermos. If you know, you know. Well, I don't have a net right now, or I'd be hollering at you so I can have bait for Saturday. Excuse me, I got the hiccups. I'd be happy if it didn't rain for a couple weeks. There you go. Moon eye are down 6 feet. The skipjack are down 3 to 4 feet in the water column. I must be doing good. I am number 2 on here, number 1 on Bobcat's channel. There you go, Greg. I can't even see that on my end. I don't even know where to see that, but let me see. There is a right there. That doesn't do anything on my end. I think I only show stuff on your end. There you go. Anybody happen to have any questions or anything? Any cool news? Saw on the news tonight that commercial fishing is using AI to find schools of fish. It was scary how well it worked. The next thing. Really? Okay, you're gonna have to send me that. Well, you said you saw it on the news. If you happen to see it, send me that. I would love to know how in the world can they use AI to find schools of fish? It's crazy. You can use AI for just about anything. I use AI for some stuff. Every now and then I'll come up with like tonight. I asked AI for some facts on Thermacline, but it didn't really give me anything that either I didn't know or that I didn't have off of this other forum. But yeah, it's crazy. What's really bad is when these guys are using AI to make all these fish pictures and they look really good, but they don't make any sense when you look at them good. I've tried to use AI to make my thumbnails and it never seems to understand what I want. So I just end up trying to do them myself. But sadly, Bobcat couldn't make it in tonight. He's still either his computer's still doing some crazy updates or he fell asleep. Either way. But I think the kids are getting ready. I just heard them pull up and they're getting ready to walk in the door. We was out for a birthday dinner tonight. My brother-in-law and nephew had a birthday and they celebrated together. So we was all out dinner. I left early, took off so I could be here. Nubby, what's going on, man? You're a little late to the party. We appreciate you stopping in anyway. We're getting ready to shut this thing down and wrap it up. Call it a week. I doubt that we'll go live. I'm probably going to have my hands full with an 8-year-old and a 9-year-old on the boat, but you never know. We might go live from Hoover, and we'll see what happens. But until next Tuesday night, we'll catch you guys. Same cat time, same cat channel. Good night, everybody. Oh, don't forget to head over to Hog Legs. I forgot to grab their link. Head over to Hog Legs. Tell them Muskrat sent you over, and we'll see you next week. Good night, everybody.